Tom, this is, we've done these over a number of years. Folks, I've known Tom for over 10 plus years. And when I came across Tom's software, I said, I've got to get this software out to executives that I'm working with in our backable exec process. Why? This software empowers the executive to figure out value creation strategies to win the private equity game. So we're going to go into it. We're going to talk about value creation is a nomenclature from private equity. It's critical in these times of high interest rates and high cost of buying companies. And we're going to be talking about it. Tom, talk a little bit about what we're going to be discussing today, your background, how we met, if you recall. And then as I'm doing that, Tom, as you're talking, I'm going to be making you the presenter. Okay.
That sounds great. And thanks for allowing me to present to your group here.
And you can see it's about connecting with business owners. So part of, if you're in our backable exec process, part of the way you win the PE game is connecting with owners. And one of the benefits of connecting owners is not just the opportunity to help them take money off the table. I find that in the majority of the owners will say, gosh, I don't know if I want to sell right this moment, but maybe you can do consulting for me. And this really gives you a wonderful way to evaluate the client's business, help them improve, and buy them later. And with all of these owners that you're talking to, and by the way, if you don't know owners, as part of the Blackmore process, we have databases that we can search. We have a research team that can identify owners that match your criteria for acquisition. So, okay, Tom, go ahead.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
I can. It's
fantastic. Thank you. And again, thanks, Gerald. Trying to think of how we met. I think it was probably 2011 at a Association of M&A Advisors conference up in Chicago. I think that's probably where we first got connected.
Yeah, and I'm still a member there, and I'm doing the M&A advisor training starting up here at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. And as you mentioned, I've done a number of your webinars, webcasts over the years, and I really appreciate the opportunity to get out in front of your audience, because I really do think, as you do, that some of the tools that we offer can be very important for consultants to use to identify ways to drive value improvement and performance.
Even if you're not a consultant today, I highly recommend you start thinking like that, because part of that mindset is what you want to be doing with any private equity firm you go to work for, or be an advisor to, or an operating partner.
That's right. I've been a management consultant for many, many years, and a technologist. I started being right out of my business degree at Purdue University in the late 70s. I started doing programming work, and so I've been bouncing back and forth. I got a finance MBA, bouncing back and forth between sort of finance management and technology roles. So again, technology and finance throughout my career. EvaluSys is a tool set that I developed alongside my consulting practice in order to be able to augment and automate some of the capabilities that I needed to do with my clients in the middle market. And so, let's see, it was, I think it was February 14th, it was Valentine's Day, when I did my last webinar with Blackmore Partners. And that was more of a broader scope. And today we're going to focus a lot more on sort of the marketing and sales side of consulting work. So it's how do you connect, how do you engage with business owners? And there's a number of solutions that we have, and let's get into the presentation here. So one of the things that we talked about on February 14th was big challenges. How do you connect with business owners with a valued educational opportunity? How do you make that connection in a way that builds value, creates trust, and then engage with them over a period of time. Because of course, what you're trying to do with Blackmore is to understand the capabilities of these firms, the value of these firms, and position yourself to be working with Gerald in position this for a private equity investment. So let's think about the middle market companies. And some of the materials that you're seeing here came from a collection of evaluations over a number of years, our business wellness checkup. 60% of the business owners have not defined their core strategies to achieve their goals, and 62% cannot identify key market trends. So some of these things that you're seeing on the screen really caught me by surprise. I had assumed that business owners of middle market companies would really have a strategic focus and would do a great job of planning their future. And we come to find that that's not always the case. So it's important to be able to look at these companies in a very analytical way, understanding where might there be improvements in marketing and sales and finance and operations and human resources and leadership and business planning, financial control. So all of these fundamental aspects of running companies, EvaluSys was designed to automate some of the discovery of these gaps in management practices and present that information to you so you could advise them on ways that they might make change, beneficial change in their companies and produce greater value. So that's what EvaluSys is all about. You can see this report image on the screen. This is available to all of our members, a roll-up of all of the summary results from the business wellness checkup across all companies that have taken it over the years. Very helpful in helping businesses that maybe have these challenges understand that they're not alone, that this is not unique, and there is work that can be done to improve the performance of their business, and it's just a matter of identifying where those opportunities lie and then putting a plan in place to be able to execute against that. So one of the things we wanted to do with today's presentation was we asked all of you, or invited all of you, to take the business wellness checkup in advance of this program. So I think we got about a dozen folks who took advantage of that. Thank you all for taking the time. It took about 15 minutes or so to complete. So what we wanted to do is to actually show you the aggregate results from all of you, give you also a sense as to how EvaluSys provides access to that information. So let me see if I can get to this screen, and I'm going to log in. And you can see in the recent activity, here are some of you who had recently taken the evaluation. We're going to go to my prospects, because people that take the business wellness checkup are typically viewed as prospects. And I'll talk a lot more about that as we get into how to use this for marketing your solutions. Let's see, we're going to go to checkup recommendation summary. That gives you the aggregate opportunity here. And I set up a group code here for Blackmore Partners, May 2023. I'll apply that. So now you can see the aggregate of all of the recommendations that came out of the business wellness checkup for the 12 people that took this evaluation. You can see the 12 number over here. So what this information is used for is to say, gee, there's 12, actually 100% of the people that have taken this out of this group identified challenges with sales management. And if you click this link, you can see the list of the 12 people that had that same concern raised through the evaluation. What I find is particularly interesting is to go over here to the scenarios. And this is the reasons why they were identified as needing help in sales management. So you can see some of the information here. Company has lost business due to lack of negotiating and closing skills. So half of those 12 identified that as an issue in their evaluation. So this materials can be very, very helpful in understanding where this business is today before you even set foot in their office. Give them this evaluation, allow them to spend 15 minutes answering a bunch of questions. You're going to know a lot more about this company before you engage in a conversation with them, which also allows you to be prepared for that conversation with some really important recommendations and insights for them. So this is the kind of information, I don't want to get too deep into this, but there's just tons of information. This kind of capability is also used in preparing for workshops. So I'll talk a little bit about that as we get through the presentation. See if I can toggle back to my presentation here. There we go. So again, thank you 12 folks for jumping in there and taking the evaluation. And if anyone hasn't done that and you still have the email from me with that offer to take the business wellness checkup, feel free to go ahead and do it. I'm going to leave that open for you to take those evaluations, and you'll get an email with the results right back. And if you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you learn more about how to interpret that information. So mid-market company opportunities, just like even smaller companies and sometimes even larger, they don't know what they don't know. And that's where these diagnostic tools are really helpful, because it doesn't presume that they have strength in marketing or sales or operations or human resources. It just basically goes in and does a level set on what are their capabilities, how are they managing these functional aspects of their business today, where are their gaps versus best practices, and that information is sent back to you to allow you to provide some guidance to these companies on how they can improve their performance. But one of the things that I've seen over the years, they definitely need that outside perspective. They need outside guidance, and that's what is the opportunity for you all here today. So EvaluSys offers you that visibility to those opportunities to improve the business. Many times they'll also need help with planning and implementation of those changes, and that's where there might be a long-term opportunity for you to support them in implementing some of these ideas. So a lot of the CEOs have too many distractions, and unfortunately, if some of these issues aren't addressed before they go to market, there's going to be money left on the table. So I think that's important information to share with these businesses in order to get them engaged in a value creation mode with your assistance as a trusted business advisor. Some of the tools and solutions we use. The business wellness checkup is principally the tool that you would use for marketing, but there's somewhat of an announcement today. The exit planning checkup now is right alongside the business wellness checkup as a tool that does not require separate licenses for, if you're an EvaluSys member and you pay your nominal fee on a monthly basis, you get unlimited access to not only the business wellness checkup, but now the exit planning checkup. The exit planning checkup, I'll talk a little bit more, but it's a great tool that's put together by people who are exit planners, investment bankers, wealth managers, and M&A attorneys to identify just how exit ready is this company. So that's great news. It's hot off the press. Today was the first day that all of our members could have unlimited access to the exit planning checkup, and I'm excited about that opportunity for everyone. The Business Wellness Diagnostic Series, that's a host of detailed evaluations that dig into marketing and sales and operations and human resources and leadership. And this is where there's a marriage between the business wellness checkup, which acts as a triage process over those business wellness diagnostic series evaluations. Workshops, I'll talk about a little bit later, ways that you can grab groups of business owners together to try to use these tools to identify opportunities to drive value across all of the participants in the workshop. It's really a strong solution for those kind of programs. Let me jump ahead here. EvaluSys really is designed with an eye towards marketing, and this is something that our business wellness checkup was actually launched in 2011. It's about the same time I met Gerald. So very from that point on, there was an eye towards how can the people who are EvaluSys members use these tools from a business development perspective. How can you use those to connect with business owners, create a relationship with them, and deepen that relationship over time? So EvaluSys has a significant part of our platform that's really focused on that. There's dashboard metrics that you can look at that talks about how many impressions are you getting from placing your business wellness checkup out on your website, how many people have completed those evaluations, how many have requested additional information and clicked through to additional links that you've provided to them, and then most importantly, how many of you converted as clients, so that way you have a long-term engagement with them to help them grow their value and position them for hopefully a private equity investment. Let's dig into that business wellness checkup. Again, it's an introductory assessment, and it's patterned right off of the business wellness diagnostic series. What we did when we designed these evaluations, this particular evaluation, is we looked at the detailed evaluations behind marketing and sales and human resources and all of those business wellness diagnostic series elements. We just pulled off a few questions from each of them, ones that we thought were indicative of an opportunity to improve in those functional areas. What we're doing with the business wellness checkup is just trying to identify, is there evidence to suggest there's a deeper need for digging into each of those functional areas with a deeper assessment. And that's what the business wellness checkup is trying to do. It does a great job of giving you an opportunity to engage with those business owners, giving them some value, regardless of how you're reaching out to that market, and then provide you some information back that you can share with them to add value. This exit planning checkup, hopefully many of you know the Exit Planning Institute. One of the founders of that is Peter Christman. And Peter was one of the 4 members who helped us to design the exit planning checkup back in 2012. So we got Peter together with an M&A attorney here in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I'm based, a wealth manager from our area here that I knew, an investment banker as well. And we asked, what are the key things that they need to be looking at to understand if they are exit ready? What are the factors that impact the successful exit? So they put their heads together, came up with a list of 31 factors, and this evaluation helps to go through those 31 factors and understand whether the business that's the subject of this evaluation is all tied off on those 31 factors, or if there are some gaps there that could affect their ability to exit successfully. So this is a very important evaluation. And the reason why today I've made this available.
Can I mention something, Tom?
Absolutely. Please chime in.
Yeah. So first of all, everybody, I want to again remind you, feel free to ask questions. I want to remind you to send me an email with your LinkedIn profile. And if you want to be a guest at our virtual private equity conference, I will consider paying for you. I JV the money to Blackmore Connects. It is a different organization than mine. And Tom, one of the most important things about this software, it really trains you in the private equity mindset. And I can't help but really urge every single executive here, is your ability to run a company, be an operations guy, a good company manager, is sufficient, but not enough to win the private equity game. And you really, in this marketplace, to be considered a viable candidate, to be backed by private equity, meaning running a private equity portfolio company, means you have to have a value creation playbook. And by using this software with potential clients, current clients, It makes you more valuable because you're living and talking in the world of the investor mindset. And how do we bring returns in early? What order do we do it? This is critical. And the software is so reasonably priced, which we'll talk about later. You only have to pay for what you need, but it makes you also more valuable in talking to owners. So it gives you a framework that matches private equity world and speaks to owners and private equity. Back to you, Tom.
Thank you so much. So this exit planning checkup is an important tool that's going to sit right aside the business wellness checkup as something that you can place on your website as an offer. Take your free exit planning checkup, or if you choose, you could actually pay charge a fee for performing an exit planning checkup using these tools. It's up to you. Here is the business wellness diagnostic series. You can see business planning, leadership, financial planning and control, human resources, management supervision, operations quality. One of our newer evaluations that was just launched at the end of last year, supply chain and logistics, a very great tool put together by an expert in supply chain from the great state of Texas. Marketing, sales, product and service innovation, and we'll be adding additional evaluations into this mix, but these are all the in-depth assessments that focus on a particular functional area of the business, identify gaps and best practices, which many times are opportunities to create additional value in that company. So let's talk about using the business wellness checkup and the exit planning checkups. When you have a EvaluSys membership, you're going to be able to create special links that you can use to post on your website, to use in your email marketing campaigns, to post on LinkedIn articles or other social media, to share with referral partners. And I'll go into a little bit more detail in each of those and how those are done and the value that they create for you in terms of marketing and selling your services as a business advisor to these companies. But when you use the business wellness checkup and the exit planning checkup, that's just the start of the engagement with these businesses. Gives you an opportunity to talk strategically about the business, which is an important thing if you're trying to develop that trusted relationship with them. Website marketing. I think most of us all have websites. It's not hard to create a page, a landing page on there where you can say, create a button that says click here to generate, to give you access to take the business wellness checkup or the exit planning checkup. Here's some examples of some pages that have been created by some of our members on their website, drawing their attention to taking this business wellness checkup. So there's plenty of opportunities out there for you to look at samples. Always willing to talk to our members about ideas on what kind of content you might want to place on those, give you links to some of these sample websites, web pages, so that you can maybe craft some language that's similar. Let's talk about email marketing. I saw a statistic that email marketing is still a huge part of the marketing mix for businesses out there today, particularly service businesses. And I saw something like a 4,500% return on investment on email marketing. That's really strong. So you're going to be able to create a link that you can use in your email marketing, or actually you can create a link that you could put on your email signature line that says, take our free business wellness checkup or our free exit planning checkup. And that way, people see those things, they click on them, they spend 15 minutes answering questions, you get the information back, you establish a meeting to review the results, and there you go. You're creating a relationship and a trusted partnership with these companies and demonstrate the knowledge and value that you can bring to them. So social media, I've used on many occasions, LinkedIn in particular. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, and I would encourage everyone on this call to reach out and connect with me if you haven't already on LinkedIn. Be glad to connect with you. Create postings, create articles on there, and make sure to take a free business wellness checkup or a exit planning checkup as part of your content. Here's a few examples of social media postings from our members. Referral marketing. There's many folks that I know out there that have created, as a consultant, they've got partnerships, really strong partnerships with specialists in sales, specialists in marketing, fractional CMOs, fractional CFOs. So they surround themselves with these people that can help support their work with their clients. And you can create a really strong referral marketing program using these tools, because all you need to do is assign a custom link for each of those members of your referral network. Encourage them to share those with businesses that they come into contact with. And this will create a great number of leads for you, as well as relevant leads for each of the specialists in your network. So in my experience, each time a business takes a business wellness checkup, there'll be 5 potential referrals out to specialists in your network. There's actually a national networking firm organization here in the United States. It's also going to be going international very soon. That's doing a pilot. That's going to be starting a pilot with using business wellness checkup and the exit planning checkup as the engine behind their referral marketing program. So really excited for that opportunity. But it's great for you as executives to have that collection of talented people around you that can support you when you're working with businesses, and help you drill into what are the value drivers in marketing or operations or finance and sales, all these different areas. And you have the technology with our collection of business wellness checkups and business wellness diagnostic series evaluations to identify those gaps in best practices to really move that along really quickly. Workshops. One of the things that I've been really successful in over the years is creating workshops using the business wellness checkup, in fact. So I call them business wellness workshops. So the idea was to publicize these programs and share links and use as pre-work these participants taking the evaluations before the workshop date. So that gives you the ability to understand where are the common gaps or common deficiencies in people who are in the room in these workshops, and know that information in advance so you can shape the agendas for these programs, even perhaps bring in special speakers that will talk to specifically the common challenges of people in the room. So it makes it extremely relevant for workshops if you have that information in advance. So again, another way to employ the business wellness workshop, business wellness checkup rather, and the exit planning checkup. So how might you talk about this as you're meeting with business owners? So how is your business going? Are you meeting your growth targets? If not, maybe they'd be interested in taking a quick evaluation to understand where some of those best practices might be missing in their companies. Have you ever thought about putting your company through a diagnostic evaluation process? Again, what you don't know, you don't know is where, in fact, in my consulting history, that's where some of the most impactful opportunities lie. These were things which were not at all on the radar of these companies before they went through the diagnostic process, and they turned out to be really big winners for them. And there's another twist on that. What you don't know, you don't know. What you think you know, which is not true, can be really damaging. And one of the things with exit planning, people might not have a really great grasp on what the value is of their business. And as you look at the next slide, introducing the exit planning checkup, those are the kind of questions you'd be asking there. What's next for you? How are you satisfied that you have a clear vision of what you're going to do after you leave your company? That's one of the big reasons why business owners fail when they go to market their business, because they might.
That is so true, Tom. One of the biggest reasons we lose deals is close to the end. They go, "What am I going to do? I don't want to sell," and they bug out. So because of it, so it's so important that executives, what we've learned to do now is keep the executive around for 2 or 3 years to help do something in the company, and definitely talk to if they're still married, or talk to their partner and see what you can do to create a vision. And I have some questions, Tom, that tie into some of this. So I'm going to, one, since the responses that you got from the executives are self-reported, do you find a bias towards optimism or pessimism in the self-assessment? And then another one, what is the business model for EvaluSys, meaning subscription or you pay per use? What's the model? And then someone said, I focus on companies that have significant transformation underway. Can the checkup help evaluate future needs or potential gaps in the successful transformation? So those are the 3 questions or comments.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there can be some bias in some of the ways that these evaluations are designed. It kind of built in some safeguards against that. So in particular, the business wellness diagnostic series evaluations might say, do you have a solid strategic planning process in your business? And if they say yes, we might ask a few other questions that might determine whether or not they do have a comprehensive strategic planning process in place. And if they don't answer correctly to those, we may ignore their first response and say, well, looks like you need some help in strategic planning. And all the reasons why these recommendations are posted, all those reasons are available to the advisors kind of behind the scenes, so you can see what were the answers that they provided to which questions in order for the system to establish there's a recommendation around improving their strategic planning or whatnot. So yeah, there can be, because it is a self-assessment, there could be, but that's where you need to ask them to be as candid as possible when answering these questions. So that way, bad data in, bad data out. I will have a slide at the end that's going to talk about sort of the business model, but the cost structure on EvaluSys is a very low barrier to get in. It's only $39 a month to be a basic advisor, which gives you access to use the exit planning evaluation and the business wellness checkup on an unlimited basis. So there's a lot of other tools behind that. The deeper evaluations, there's something called value growth architecture, which is a very sophisticated strategic planning methodology that follows on the diagnostics as well. So there's a lot of deep capability in the platform, but it doesn't take you much to get into to start using some of these tools and try to build a consulting practice or try to improve your consulting practice using some of these engaging and connecting capabilities. What was the third question, Gerald? Trying to remember.
Let's see. If I focus on companies that have significant transformation underway, can the checkup help evaluate future needs or potential gaps for successful transformation? And then, so that's one of them, and there's another one after that.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Again, the question and answer process is going to ask them how they're managing their business today. And presumably, if you've got some improvement programs underway, they're going to answer that, in the affirmative. They have those things handled, and there'll still be gaps identified. These tools have been used with some fairly large middle market companies in the past. And even those, I've had conversations with the principals of those companies. This is, again, as a consultant, where they've asked, we're knocking the ball out of the park every day with this company. We've got a hockey stick trajectory on sales and profits. And yet the system identified 70 plus opportunities to improve. And, how could that be? So I sat down with that CEO, and we talked through that process and looked through where all those recommendations were coming from. And it turned out that they were all centered around marketing and sales. And the way that they did their marketing and sales, they only had 3 or 4 people in the company do marketing and sales, and they all had 40 years experience in sales and marketing. And so they didn't ever get together and organize the sales process. They were all just kind of winging it independently. And each of the things that were picked out from our evaluations in marketing and sales were indicative of just not a holistic view of what is the sales strategy and the marketing strategies for these businesses. Just let these guys run loose. And that was a really transformative idea for the CEO. And so there doesn't really matter how big they are, there will be opportunities to improve identified through the Business Wellness Diagnostic Series. Tools and solutions to engage. Goal impact analysis and value growth architecture. If you were on our February 14th webinar, I actually demoed some of these capabilities. If you don't have access to that, I'm sure Gerald or I have a link that I could share with you all, so you could view that prior one. I'm not going to go into demos of those capabilities today because I'm really more focused on the sales and marketing pieces today. But goal impact analysis and value growth architecture are designed to help you identify the why behind making these changes. So value growth architecture is very much a finance-driven program.
Wait for me. It's time for the bench.
Was there a question, Gerald?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I'm curious to learn about what measures are being considered by your firm and its peers in integrating ESG and fostering diversity. Also, in current markets. How are the valuations changing? Thank you.
Great question. To be honest, EvaluSys does not have anything with regard to diversity or ESG built into our current evaluations. If there are folks out there that have some special knowledge in that area and would like to collaborate with EvaluSys on developing an ESG and diversity assessment, I'd be very interested in talking to you, because that certainly is something that's on the radar of businesses today. And we'd love to increase and expand the Business Wellness Diagnostic Series to include topics of that nature.
Well, Tom, my thinking, I tell people, be very careful about this whole ESG business, because I think as people get more cost conscious, they're going to find out it's not a good, there aren't really legitimate measures. They seem to be very vague. And so I'm watching this ESG quotients very carefully. And but you might as well be ready with it. If people want a model to do an assessment, that certainly would be a market need for those people. I just want to say again, Tom, this product is excellent. It helps you be a better consultant, helps you be a better operator. If you're working for a company, you can use this software. So it doesn't matter if you're a consultant or not. Start learning to use this. It gives you a model, a framework to add to your, I call it add to your playbook. And again, if you want to learn more about how private equity is thinking, what they want in executives, and please send me an email, gerald.o'dwyer@blackmorepartnersllc.com. My email's in the chat with the word guest, and make sure your LinkedIn profile or a resume is attached, and we will consider you to have you be our guest. But you have to do that before the end of this webinar. Continue, Tom.
Okay. I'm close to wrapping up here, so we'll have some time for additional Q&A. Just briefly on goal impact analysis. What we're trying to do with both goal impact analysis and value growth architecture is to help establish the why around making these changes in the business. Goal impact analysis asks for them to identify and articulate their top 3 to 5 strategic goals for their business and for them personally. And then as they go through the business wellness diagnostic series, it'll identify problem areas, and they'll be asked to do their own assessment of how might those issues that are being revealed impact their ability to achieve those goals. So the system will calculate a score that can be used to prioritize action against that. And goal impact analysis is available as a tool set, as a feature set with even the basic EvaluSys membership. Value growth architecture now, that's our top level of solutions. There's more cost associated with this, but it's designed around a very finance forward strategic planning process. So what this does is, as you identify the value drivers in a business, it's going to coach you through defining what are the value contributions of making these changes in the business. How is it going to drive EBITDA up? How is it going to improve the earnings quality or predictability of future cash flow in that business? And what is the investment required? And now you have a return on investment modeling process to use to prioritize an action plan. Software will actually, once you identify a budget for the company to invest in these initiatives, you've got the prioritization metrics available to you so you can prioritize action. And now it'll actually create your 5-year action plan with start and end dates for each of your initiatives. What is the dollar value that's going to contribute to the value of the business? And what is the budget required to be able to make that change in the company? So value growth architecture is our top tier product, but all of the capabilities for marketing and sales for consultants and business advisors are available at the basic level. So let's talk about the investment model, sort of the business model, to that earlier question. So the pricing is really designed for a low barrier to entry. The basic advisor membership fee is just $39 a month per advisor. So most of our advisors only have one advisor in their company, so it's $39 a month. And that gives you the ability to create those links on your website, take the business wellness checkup, use those on email marketing, use those in your referral marketing programs. Again, you have unlimited access to both the business wellness checkup and, as of today, the exit planning checkup as well. The other evaluations are going to require an $89 per use assessment fee or licensing fee. So if you go through the business wellness checkup and identifies a need for marketing and sales improvement, and you want to take them through the marketing and sales assessments, the deeper assessments, there's going to be an $89 per use fee that will be charged to be able to use those with those clients.
Some questions coming in.
All right.
And Tom, I just thought of another market for you. One, I think you definitely should go to ACG um, connections, capital connections with all the investment bankers there. I think this is a great product for investment bankers looking where there's opportunities that the owner's leaving on the table to show the PE firm that may be buying it where there are opportunities for the future, and that's future value that they can utilize, right? PE firms want money left on the table to reclaim. So investment bankers could be an opportunity for you. Okay, here's a few questions coming in. What is the average conversion rate from potential clients taking the exercise to committing to consulting hours, and how much engagement comes from it? And let me, I'd like to give a shot at it. Having sold consulting, it's all about how good are you at positioning it. The software is just the tool. It really is up to you to, create a case beforehand and after. To you, Tom?
Yeah, I totally agree. Again, I've used these tools in my own consulting practice for many, many years since we launched in 2009. We launched EvaluSys in 2009. And I'd say my conversion rate on the business wellness checkup to have some kind of client engagement was probably around 50%. So that's pretty strong, actually. And there are parts of the exit planning assessment in the business wellness checkup. There's a handful of questions with regard to exit planning. So you can actually do a double hit on them by going through the business wellness checkup. If it says that they're thinking about a near-term exit and there are some issues there that are picked up in the business wellness checkup regarding exit readiness, turn right around and offer them the exit planning assessment. And now you're going to have a really strong relationship with those folks to be able to get in and help them to drive value.
Okay. And once again, if you are highly interested in private equity, I do have some guest slots for June and August, but you have to send me your LinkedIn profile so I can review it, or your resume, and then I present it to the Blackmore Connects along with my recommendation. But you do need to get that to me right now, okay, please, or shortly here after this call. Here's a last question. Do you have a sample or dummy report cards so we can see what this tool looks like in practice?
Absolutely. I can do two things. The second bullet on this next step slide talks about a client trial, which would allow you to view EvaluSys from the seat of a client and allow you to take all of the evaluations that we have available on our platform and be able to see the results based upon the answers that you provide. So it'll give you really an experience of a client. And I can also share with you sample reports if you'd like. You can see my email down there. Please take that down and just shoot me an email if you'd like to get those samples. I'll be happy to send you copies of that material. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Love to keep in touch with all of you. There's a YouTube channel that we're developing some content on, so keep an eye out. Search for EvaluSys on YouTube, and you'll find some of our videos. So once again, I'd like to mention here is our picture of our website. There's membership plans as a link at the top. There is a begin basic 15-day free trial button there. Won't require a credit card. You could begin to utilize this as an advisor for 15 days for free. And I hope you all take advantage of that opportunity. And before I close, thank you, Gerald, so much for the opportunity to address your team.
Hey, this is a great product service that you have. And again, we've been promoting it since 2011. Once again, if you're interested in going to the next level in your private equity career, get the education, meet private equity, get firsthand information about what's going on, send me an email. with the word guest in the subject, along with your LinkedIn profile and/or resume. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Gerald.